Hello everybody, welcome to your EFL Championship hot takes for round 14 so far. We are in the middle of a 3-game week. We are in the middle of a midweek round. 8 games last night, 4 games tonight, and it is already back-to-back wins this week. 2 out of 2 for Derby, for Blackburn, for Birmingham, and for Stoke. There were big late goals for Middlesbrough and for Charlton. And were Coventry going to respond to the end of their undefeated streak last Friday? Yes, indeed. Back to winning ways at the top for Coventry. Typically newsy championship night. Get your views in the comments on your team or indeed anything you saw last night. Let's start at the top and we can stick that Coventry badge back up there. It didn't seem right, it being gone after the undefeated streak went on Friday. But they bounced back really well. It was Coventry 3, Sheffield United 1. We did this on the watch-along last night. So if you want to go back and see in minute detail my reaction to literally everything that happened, you can. But this was good character, good resilience from Coventry because they were a goal down at half-time in this one. So some adversity. And if you ever wanted to show anybody the dictionary definition of a team coming out after half-time and taking the game by the scruff of the neck, show them this game. Coventry were brilliant from minute sort of 45 to 60 or whatever when they turned it round, got the equaliser, went 2-1 up indeed. It was a strange night. 3 keepers got injured and didn't last the game last night in 8 games, which it seems very strange in the Championship. One of them was Mike Cooper. Adam Davies ending up in goal, and I think he picked the ball out of the net twice before he'd barely even touched it. And I've got to shout out Coventry right back, Milan van Evik, who just seemed to be a one-man wrecking crew, wasn't he, in that second half? Getting his team up the pitch and really pushing from that right-hand side, and B, with some brilliant long throw-ins. Sakamoto equalises from one of them. And yes, it is really poor goalkeeping by Davies for the second goal that Bobby Thomas heads in. But it was just the sheer amount of pressure that Coventry's excellent second half put Sheffield United under. And unfortunately, the thing we know about Sheffield United is we talk about Coventry being resilient. Bless the Blades, they got no resilience this season at all. If they come under pressure, they lose. 11 defeats for Sheffield United, and we can now say it, last season, 10 all season. Sheffield United have lost more games already this season than they did in the entirety of their third place finish and playoff final season last time around. 3 defeats in a row. Breakaway goal at the end for Brandon Thomas Asante, which is going to annoy Carlton Morris. Actually, we'll get on to that. But I think they're really good, Coventry. I think it was a big sort of flag in the ground there. You can imagine, you know what football fans are like, don't you? Terrible bunch you lot, aren't you? At half time in the watch along, everyone's commenting me, oh, Coventry have fallen apart. Lampard this. I knew it was a flash in the pan, but being they've bounced back, that is now 7 wins in 8. And we're not talking about just a flashy start to this season for Coventry. And I'm going to keep count of this because I know they got 40 points in the last 20 last season. That is 71 points from 34 games. Coventry under Frank Lampard have been an automatic promotion generating, outputting level team now for those 34 games. We've said they're going to have to put together the whole season. It's going to have to be 66 games they're going to have to do it for because they didn't make it despite their good form through the second half and the back end of last season. But they are at it, Coventry, top of the table, 4 points clear of Stoke, 5 points clear of Middlesbrough. Speaking of Stoke, at the weekend, drum roll please, ladies and gentlemen, 3 p.m. on Saturday is the meeting of the top 2. It is Stoke and Coventry. And let's get on to Stoke, who, having won 5-1 at the weekend, won 3-0 at Oxford last night. Absolutely incredible week from Stoke. And we'd kind of been joking that they don't really score very many goals. So 8 goals in 2. Stoke had scored 7 goals in the previous 10. Now, 4 wins in 5. The really good news for Stoke is nobody has more clean sheets and they have conceded the fewest goals in the league. So, honestly, this spells trouble for the teams at the top of the Championship if Stoke start scoring goals. Lewis Baker's always good for a couple from central midfield, and Zonzi scored as well. A blast from the past there. Chamado, again, really good contribution from right back. And we were saying through the start of the season, yeah, Stoke are good, but Sorba Thomas is doing all their attacking for them, isn't he? Well, he's barely been involved in any of the goals for the last 2 games, and 8 goals flying in. And we've spoken about Manhoff and Mubama, who was big involved in the first goal. That shot palmed back out for Baker to strike home. Bay, along with Thomas, they are purring Stoke. And we know Mark Robins is capable of stable, steady football. Amazing job at Coventry. I never found even the Coventry team at their best to be massively, massively free-flowing. But there's no shame in setting up to be stable and recruiting good players and letting them do their thing at the top end. So are you going to see champagne football? Maybe not, but you're going to see winning football from Stoke by the look of it now. And if, as I say, you add on top a confidence and a capacity to score goals, with the right back chipping in and, good individual performances, then you know where that will end this season, don't you? And as I say repeatedly at the moment with the travails of the parachute teams, it's an open door, and there's no reason why Stoke can't be in the top 2 this season. Excellent. Oxford, the struggle is real for Oxford, but it's not all bad news. They have scored 13 points in their last 11. And if I said to an Oxford fan, okay, you're going to get 13 points in your next 11, I'm sure they'd be pretty happy with that. That would take them to 26 at game 25 and above that, point per game standard to stay in it. The slight worry I've got about Oxford, 2 clean sheets in 14. I know it's stereotypes for Rowett, the manager there, but you'd want to see a few more as a bit of a canary in the coal mine for Oxford having a successful season. And as I was discussing with a couple of Oxford fans on Twitter the other day, there is still this issue for me of Southampton, Sheffield United and Norwich being below them, and they might trend up. The Oxford fans said to me, well, okay, fair enough, Ben. There might be teams above that trend down. That's fine, but we've got to identify them, and Oxford have got to get above them. So not all bad for Oxford, and Stoke are hot at the moment. So look, it is what it is. Leicester 1, Middlesbrough 1 ended with Middlesbrough equalising with only 10 men on the pitch after Jones got red carded. And Luke Ayling, and it was a strange old goal because the cross floats in and you're kind of watching it thinking, well, if he's that far out and there's that little pace on the cross, it's going to be difficult to score from them. But he loops the header into the corner. Ayling, channeling his best Jurgen Klinsmann there, kind of flying through the air to score that goal. And they got away with it, Middlesbrough, didn't they? But, and it has to be buts for Middlesbrough at the moment, that is 3 winless. I know they got the quick back-to-backs against, it was at Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday. They've only scored 6 goals in their last 8 games, Boro. And you're kind of relying on Ayling to score in this one. I know Whittaker had got a couple. Conway's not getting that many. Could have had a hat-trick, couldn't he, in the game against Sheffield Wednesday. There's Strelec there. McGree came back in, so that is something creatively. But yeah, so 6 goals in the last 8 games. And there is 2 wins in there, but over that 8-game period, and this is a bit unfair of me, but this is what we do to look for trends. If you take out that amazing start by Boro and you just go over the last 8 games, they're 13th. So it's very easy to argue that Boro are trending down after a brilliant start. They're still right in there, could trend back up again, but Stoke obviously the culmination of that trending down is they've surrendered second place. So let me know your thoughts, Boro fans. Are you concerned about A, a lack of goals, and B, 13th place form for over 8 games? That could go lower tonight, I believe, if we get a Swansea win as well. But we're really into the minutiae of very, very niche statistics there. Leicester aren't very good, are they? And I suspect their fans thought, oh God, we're rubbish against Blackburn at the weekend. We're going to come out again a few days later in the rain in the British winter and we're going to get a win. And it was a huff and a puff and a silly penalty, Hackney handball, and AU puts the penalty in. So they're still not creating really anything from open play, are they? Except worldies we'd spoken about from Ramsey and Fatawu and James earlier in the season. And then when it goes 10 versus 11, surely the Leicester fans are thinking, right, finally a win's coming. And then you can see the late going 95 or 96 minutes, something like that. Leicester, no win in 5, 1 win in 10. They are trending down in the worst way. I said Middlesbrough trending down a little bit, but who would you rather be at the moment? Middlesbrough in 3rd on 26 or Leicester in 13th on 18? With the constant talk about that sanction coming after the Premier League charge months ago. Another international break coming. That's always good for a EFL communications message, or Premier League are involved in this one as well. So, yeah, fans aren't having Cifuentes, I don't think. Don't know whether the players are, so we'll see how this pans out at Leicester. They are not prolific in front of goal, and they are not winning games 1-1. And I think this next one as well just sums up how all over the place the Championship is this season. It was Birmingham 4, Millwall 0, and just like Stoke, we have a team that were not very, at it in front of goal, who's banged in 8 goals and won back-to-back games. I suppose if you want to score points, which football fans always want to do, in terms of the amazing weeks for Birmingham and Stoke, Birmingham haven't conceded any goals. Maybe Stoke could argue that Birmingham have played 2 home games anyway. Let the point scoring continue for eternity in the realms of football fans. But hey, Birmingham back-to-back 4-0 wins. That is outstanding. They've got 3 wins in 4. And I can give you a very, very similar stat. 8 goals in 2 games for Blues. 8 in the previous 10. So they've gone from 0.8 goals per game over a 10-game sample to 4 goals a game over a 2-game sample. Absolutely ridiculous. Pike, 2nd in 2 for him. Gray, that was nicely worked, and that'll be really encouraging for the Birmingham fans, because I know a lot of them have complained about overly methodical, tippy-tappy football. Well, that's it working. And Gray and Chris Davies said in his post-match, he wants goals from his wingers, but that means his wingers have got to be braver. They've got to get inside the fullback, inside the post. That's what Gray did. What a goal from Cochrane. Sam Parkin was praising his set play delivery in the 4-0 win at the weekend. Who'd they beat 4-0 at the weekend? It was Pompey, wasn't it? Great goal by Cochrane. It's a shame it doesn't fly in the top corner, but it's a hell of a volley, isn't it? He smashes this one down the throat of the keeper, who can do the sum total of absolutely nothing about it. And Stansfield, it feels unfair on Stansfield, but he is the talisman for this team, and it's kind of a big thing whenever he's on the score sheet, isn't it? Because That's the hometown guy coming back and the massive signing in League One that got all of the headlines and the kind of flag-waving player for the ambition of Knighthead capital. Brilliant. Birmingham. Is it clicking? It's 2 games. It's 2 home games, but it's bloody impressive to win 4-0 back-to-back. Birmingham go to Middlesbrough at the weekend. So it's very, very much, we'll leave that thought there and see what Blues can do. If they go to Boro, do a 9-point week and keep a clean sheet, I think a lot of us are going to be saying it has clicked, and the Birmingham fans are going to be saying, damn the international break. Let's just keep playing. Let's play another 3 games next week, because Birmingham are in fine form this season. Millwall, excuse me. Let me take a sip of my drink. Have been in fine form. I think they'd won 4 on the trot before drawing at Oxford at the weekend, and that was a late equaliser in that one. And very strangely, try and explain this to me, Millwall fans. They've lost 2 in 10, which is really good. But both of those defeats have been 4-0. One at home to Coventry and this one here. So it's like Millwall are really good. But when it blows, it really, really blows. And they lost 3-0 to Middlesbrough as well, didn't they, at home earlier in the season. So they've got a bit of a collapse in them, Millwall, when they're not in a game. A kind of all or nothing type side. But they're still up there in 4th in the table, Millwall. And they will be looking to bounce back. Who have they got at the weekend? At home to Preston. That'll be a good old scrap. Preston play tonight against Swansea. Let me know your thoughts on those first 4 up there. Coventry 3, Sheffield United 1, Oxford 0, Stoke 3, Leicester 1, Boro 1. Birmingham 4-0 again, this time against Millwall. Only 8 games, so this is our last screen here. And it was Charlton 1, West Brom 0. And it was a Nathan Jones classic in more ways than one, because Carey gets the winner late in the game, 95. And who's in the middle of the celebrations, running down the touchline, climbing up the advertising hoardings, is Nathan Jones. Bit of a coin flip game, this one. 50-50 possession. 13 shots to 11 in West Brom's favour. 1.29, 1.13 on the XG. And Charlton's XG swelled by a penalty in the first half of this one. And I can't for the life of me remember who missed the penalty for Charlton. Doherty in the first half, but he's bailed out at the end there by Carey, who's been in really good form in the number 10 now. He's got 5 goals in 10 games. We know Charlton are going to be good at home. They've got 2 points per game at home, and we know they're going to be good defensively. They've got 6 clean sheets. Nobody has more clean sheets than Charlton. If they can get goals from the likes of Carey, I know Kelman got his first at the weekend. They've got options, haven't they? Lee Burn starting up top with like Campbell off the wing. Apter, I mean, a couple of times off the bench, but has impacted as well. So if they're tight, good at home, and they've got individuals who can get goals, as we said about Stoke, we know how that ends. And Charlton are 5th in the table on a lovely run. We did think this was going to come from Nathan Jones. Thought they'd be good, but the way the doors opened up, they could finish anywhere, couldn't they, Charlton? No reason why they can't stop up in that region of the table that they are right now. West Brom would love to be in that region of the table. And again, I mean, I spoke about Middlesbrough trending down. Obviously, Middlesbrough have got 8 points more than West Brom. It's the same deal with Leicester, isn't it? They're both on 18 points, Leicester and West Brom. West Brom are not good at the moment. 2 wins in 10. 6 goals in 10. And I saw West Brom in the flesh at Ipswich before the Blue Monday live show last weekend. And they really offered very, very little. And Ryan Mason is very kind of candid and honest. But I don't know, his interview was a little bit, it's on me. I'm asking them to do stuff. It's not working. I'm not good enough. It's not good enough. And I love the honesty, but don't tell your owners and your fans that you're not good enough because they'll believe you, especially when the results are like they are for West Brom. And yeah, their good start to the season, West Brom, is really propping them up. I'm just trying to remember. I think they had like wins in... How many did they win early in the season? 1, 2, 3 of the first 4. Got 10 points then in the first 4 games. So they've got 8 in the last 10. That is really, really propping them up. That's relegation form, isn't it? 0.8 points per game over a 10-game sample. They need to snap out of that pretty quickly. And get into the sort of form that Blackburn are in. Bristol City 0, Blackburn 1. 3 wins in a row for Rovers in this ridiculous championship. Again, we've spoken about teams like Stoke and Birmingham who weren't scoring any goals, who have now all of a sudden scored 8 goals this week already. And we can do it with points with Blackburn. 7 points in their first 10 games. They've now scored 9 points in their last 3 games, and they are on for the fabled, along with Birmingham and Stoke, 9-point week here, Blackburn. Outstanding stuff. And lest we forget, they are playing aside Bristol City, who were up there in the top 6. Speaking of 9-point weeks, Bristol City did a 9-point week last 3-game week. They're on for a 0-point week. Again, all of these things, these complete flip-flops in narrative, just show how crazy this league is. It makes no sense whatsoever that a team could win 3 games in a 3-game week and then lose 3 games in the next 3-game week. It's the Championship, ladies and gentlemen. Ohashi with the goal. It's nice when he scores because he gets a bit typecast as just a striker that runs around a lot and does pressing to help Big Good Johnson. And it worked a treat at Leicester at the weekend, didn't it, with Good Johnson scoring twice. But Ohashi gets the goal here. I think Morishita plays him in. And yeah, brilliant week for Blackburn. There's always something there with Big Val, isn't there? He's always one to keep an eye on. Always got something up his sleeve. Never far away from a run. I think alarmingly, I know we're talking about Bristol City having players injured. They got loads out. But Blackburn were one of the teams where the keeper left the game early. And so did Scott Wharton as well. So that would be a big problem. We did the watch long at the weekend of Leicester Blackburn, and Toth made a hell of a save in that game. So he's obviously a keeper in good form. They won't want that to be too big a problem. Bristol City, yeah, very, very odd. Back-to-back losses, 0 shots on target in this game. And I know they've got injuries, but they're still able to put out Mehmeti and Twine. You've got really good quality, and Emil Rees up top. Okay, there's maybe very, very little on the bench, so you can kind of see how this game progressed and then went in the way of Blackburn. But yeah, out of the top 6 and in need of a reaction. They play on Friday night as well, so quick turnaround. They face Watford. I'm assuming they're going to Watford, who we are going to talk about in just a second, who have a very, very good home record as well. So it's a tricky one for Bristol City. Everything is a tricky one at the moment. When you face Derby County have won 4 games on the trot. They beat Hull City 2-1 last night. Over the last 12 games, so they lost their opening 2, Derby. Over the last 12, 4th in the table. So is Mr. Eustace at it again, getting a really steady, consistent championship side going on a really, really consistent championship run. We know they're always hard to beat. They're on a winning streak now. They're winning home and away. They were back home, so I think it is 3 out of the 4 games have been at home for Derby. Who have they got? They've got Blackburn. So that's 2 informed teams facing one another at the weekend. And I'm sure there'll be no love lost for John Eustace after the way he left Blackburn Was that in 2025? Was it late 20? It doesn't feel that long ago. So much happened so quickly in the Championship. I think it was in 2025, wasn't it? Certainly in the middle of last season, wasn't it? That he moved from Blackburn over to Derby. Carlton Morris, as I mentioned before, Brandon Thomas Asante scored that late breakaway goal for Coventry. Morris was tied as top scorer in the division with 9. He's in fine form, isn't he? Morris, 5 goals in 3 games from him. And was it Langas who got the second one? Salverson, with the second one. Is he the one who's been out injured, who came in? And to be fair to Derby, talking about that first 2 games and the struggles, they've had loads of injuries to start the season and have now kind of settled on a steady starting 11, and hence the results are coming as the season builds up. So great work for Derby, and let's not forget they were facing the Hull side in really, really good form as well. First defeat in 7 for Hull. I think they'd won 4 in 5 maybe, and Joe Gelhardt was in terrific form, or is in terrific form for Hull. The worry you have for Hull is just that goals against column. Only the 2 Sheffield clubs who are having their respective crises this season have conceded more goals than the 22 Hull have conceded. So I tell you what, they've done damn well to be so high in the league when they've leaked so many goals. But it does feel like, if you're a side you often need 2 goals to win, then either the winning stops or you need to sort the defending out a little bit in terms of Hull. But they're still performing rather nicely. They play Pompey at the weekend. Finally, my lot, Ipswich 1, Watford 1. And I looked at Ipswich and their 4-1 win at QPR at the weekend, and you kind of thought, have they clicked yet? Not yet, I don't think. I think maybe a bit of a click and some star power, and, a game where sort of things went in and things, went kind of best case scenario type thing for Ipswich. So am I surprised they haven't followed it up with a 3rd straight win? Not massively. I know Watford have not been good away from home. They've still got 0 away wins, but I said going into the game, Watford have got good individuals, none more so than Loser, and there were some good stats going around to say Watford good on the counter-attack. So was it massive surprise that a kind of sweeping move, lots of players sprinting into the box, and Loser picks up that second line so well, doesn't he? 6 goals in 8 games for him. I know the conversation lacks credibility when people say, he's best in the league at the moment, because everyone just picks a player from the club they support because they want to get excited about that. But let me reframe that as certainly one of my favourite players in the league. I'd prefer he didn't do it against Ipswich, to be bluntly honest, but is Imran Loser. What a baller that guy can be. Speaking of ballers, Jaden Philogene on the score sheet again for Ipswich. Ipswich have conceded first in 6 out of 13 games this season and only kept 2 clean sheets in the 13 games they've played. So, I think you can easily argue that this side is a way off being the finished article. The bar is so high when we've seen the pattern of play that Kieran McKenna produced in, that 18 months, the double promotion through League One up to the Premier League. So that's what we expect. And I think everyone will understand if he gets a comparable pattern of play with the squad he's now got, that Ipswich will become a winning machine. But then they're not there yet. I suppose the real positive for Ipswich is that game in hand, if you, it's never sensible to add 3 points on for a game in hand. Let's add 1.5 on. They would be half a point off the playoffs. So if you're half a point off the playoffs and you've not yet clicked, and you click, go figure. You know where the ceiling is for that. I suppose the expectation with the spend for Ipswich, though, is top 2. And there's not masses of margin for error. There's a 7-point gap to second place and 11 point gap up to Coventry at the top. And if you're a Coventry fan and you're kind of looking at a title run, yes, you've got to beat what's in front of you, but it'll be no harm the fact that the likes of Ipswich are 11 points off, the other parachute teams as well. Leicester 13 off, Southampton are miles off Coventry, 19 off. Sheffield United are 20, I can't add up, 22 points off Coventry. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about Ipswich, but you see the overarching point we're making with the parachute teams not being as good as they normally are this season. There you go. Ipswich 1, Watford 1. Takes us to the end of the Hot Takes video. Get your thoughts in via the comments, as well as also a poll going up on the community tab of the Benjamin Bloom Football channel right now, where you can have a little vote on how your team performed last night. We will be back tonight at time of recording for Portsmouth versus Wrexham. Sorry, a lot going on. 3-game week. So come and join us for the watch along there. If you can't, as I said, get your views down here in the comments now and communicate that way. Make sure you hit thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, where you can also find it's a weekend round, literally back into it tomorrow, Thursday. We'll have another round of predictions with the great Sam Parkin, although I think he's going to beat me this round unless I have a really good night tonight. So I'll keep quiet about that. But yeah, thank you for joining. Fill the comments up with your views on Championship round 14 so far, and we'll see you tonight for Pompey versus Wrexham.